Hello. So we are given this question of range sum query, immutable 303 from Leetcode, and the question simply states that given an integer array nums, handle multiple queries of the following type. Now the type of query is given. He calculate the sum of elements of nums between indices left to right, where which is inclusive of left less than equals to right. So basically, if you look at the example that we given, we are given the nums array, right? Nums array, then we are given multiple queries as such. Now let's say this is our nums array that we given -2 0 3 -5 2 -1, right? And we are given this multiple queries as 0 2 2 5 0 5 2 5 0 5, yes. And these are the queries that we're given. What we need to do is we need to iterate from the left query to the right one. So left is 0 to 2, 0 to 2 we need to add all these number and return the integer value, the sum value that we get, right? Here we will get 1. Then we'll iterate from 2 to 5, 2 to 5 index, 2 to 5 index we'll get -1 3 4 5, 5 -1 we'll get -1, right? Then we'll iterate from 0 to 5. Now 0 to 5, this gives us -1, this will give us -2 -3, so this will give us -3, right? Let us look at this output. The output simply says 1 -1 -3. All we have to return is this. Now the brute force way of solving this question will be you go through all these queries, take all the left input and right input as into the for loop, and run and add all the number and return the sum, right? Now the problem with this method is that you will definitely get a TLE if the number of query is really large. What if the number of queries are 2500 or 500, let's say? Then for this large query you are running loop this many times, so we'll definitely get a TLE. Now the best approach to solve this kind of question, wherein you will be given an array and you need to find the sum of the subset of the array. So let's say this is an array, and all you have to do is find this sum, or this portion sum, or the total sum. This kind of question, the best approach to solve this type of question would be prefix sum pattern. Prefix sum pattern. Now I'll tell you how to do it. So in this prefix sum pattern, what you have to do is you create a new subsum array, right? Create a new array, and what we will do is inside this subsum array, we'll put all the possible addition of the sum, all the possible sum of the subsets of the original array. We'll take the example. First, what you do is first create a subsum array, right? Initialize the first index as 0. Store the value in the first index as 0, and keep adding all these numbers from the num side. So add 0 plus -2 will give us -2, right? We done with this. Then add -2 plus 0 and we'll get -2 again. Done with this. 3, add 3 with -2, we'll get 1. Add 1 with -5, 1 with -5 will give us -4, right? -4 plus 2 will give us -2, -2 plus -1 will give us -3. Now let's see. Let us write the indexes first, right? So yeah, so 0 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. See, we have with this array, in the subsum array, if we look at the pattern, we have all the consecutive sum of the elements in the nums array. Let's say, for example, sum of all the elements from 0 to 3. 0 to 3 is stored in the 4th index of the array. Similarly, sum of elements of 0 to 5, 0 to 5 is stored in the 6th index of the array. If you look at a clever pattern, we will know that the upper limit, this is left and this is right. So sum of all the elements from left being 0 to right is stored in the right plus 1 index of the array. Right plus 1 index of the subsum array. So let's say if we are given a query, this is our array, for example, and we are given a query to find sum of all the elements from left to right. This is the sum we need to find. Then we know the sum of all the elements from 0 to right. Right, sum of all the elements from 0 to right will be stored in the index right plus 1 in the subsum array. It will be stored in the right plus 1 index, and all the elements from 0 to left minus 1, left minus 1, right? We need the sum of all the elements from 0 to left minus 1 will be stored in the subsum left array, left index, right? Subsum any index from 0 to any index, the value of the sum from 0 to any index will be stored in the index plus 1 array in the subsum, right? So 0 to left minus 1, all the sum of elements from 0 to left minus 1 will be stored in the subsum left, and all the elements from 0 to right will be stored in subsum right minus 1. Then in order to find this shaded region, we will simply do subsum right plus 1 minus subsum left, and this will be the required sum that our question needs, right? So this is the main logic behind solving by using prefix sum pattern. You can clearly see that we have all these ranges for the nums array, and corresponding index plus 1, in index plus 1 we have the sum of all the subsets of the nums array. Using this method we'll be able to find the required area. Have this range sum query, we'll write the code for it. Now in this in this box we are provided with two functions. One is nums array and another is sum range. Now sum range we are provided left and right, so simply in the sum range function we have to return the integer sum of the indexes from left to right, and inside the nums array we are provided with nums where we will create our subsum array. Now let us first introduce the subsum array inside the class vector int subsum, and inside this num array we will initialize the values inside the subsum array. So we remember the first value that goes inside the subsum array is 0, so we'll put 0 into subsum array first. Subsum dot push back 0. Now what we'll do is we'll iterate over the nums array. So for auto it nums, will iterate over the nums array, and we will add the back value of the subsum array, which is 0, with the current value of the nums array and put it in the next index. So in the subsum array we will push back the back element of the subsum array, which was 0, subsum dot back, and with that we will add the current element of the nums array. Right, we did it, right? The first push the back element of the subsum array, add it with the current element of the nums array and push it in the next index. So we are doing key subsum back plus it, and we're pushing it back into subsum, and we will go over it and we will do it for the next index, right? So just need this for loop, and this is the nums array object that we will create, and inside, now this is done, and inside subsum range inside the sub range we are provided with the left and right. So all we have to do is int required sum will be subsum right plus 1. So we have to go to the next index for in the subsum array compared to the nums array to find the sum from 0 to right. So right plus 1, and we'll subtract subsum left, and this will be our required sum, and we'll return the required sum. Required sum. Let me see for the syntax error or any. Return required sum. It's correct. Looks correct. Wrong answer. 0 minus 2 0 subsum right plus I'm sorry, I need to put a minus here. Subsum right plus 1 minus subsum left. So this clearly got accepted. Now going off the time complexity, actually we created a new space complexity. If our nums array is of the space complexity on, then the subsum will get a space complexity of on plus 1. As our initial index we put a 0 to it, so it will be one space ahead of the nums array. We took a extra space complexity, and for the time complexity we took on, right? We are just only once iterating over the nums array. And for this part, this nums range will work in time complexity o1, as just we are outputting the index difference and storing it into the required sum and returning the required sum. So the space complexity will be on, and time space complexity will be on plus 1, almost on, and time complexity will also be on.